Hello, I'm Simon Owens, and you're listening to The Business of Content, a podcast about how publishers create, distribute, and monetize their digital content. Today, we're talking about a personal finance blog that started out as a fun side project, but now employs dozens of people and generates millions in annual revenue. In 2010, a college dropout named Kyle Taylor launched a blogspot account. He was taking on odd side jobs in an attempt to crawl his way out of debt, and the blog was a way to write about lessons he learned on making and saving money. Traffic was scarce at first, but over a period of years, the blog slowly gained an audience. Eventually, brands started approaching Taylor about publishing sponsored posts, and revenue for the site, which was called the Penny Hoarder, quickly grew. Flash forward a few more years, and the Penny Hoarder now has a huge audience, dozens of full-time staffers, and millions in annual revenue. To get a better understanding of how the site grew this big, I interviewed John Schlander, the Penny Hoarder's managing editor. I asked him about how his staff develops its story ideas, how the site makes money, and whether the rise of the gig economy plays a part in its success. Let's jump right into it. Hey, John, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Simon.
So, you're the manager of a site called the Penny Hoarder. How would you describe the site to someone who had never heard of it?
The Penny Hoarder is one of the largest personal finance websites, and we have a mission to help people keep more money in their pockets, as we put it. So we're all about ways to earn and save money.
So it's a lot of actionable advice, things that they can take. It's not just passive consumption of content. It's stuff that they can use, whether it's saving money, like deals or life hacks, or it's ways to make money. So freelancing opportunities, or how to like optimize your work environment so you make more money, stuff like that.
Exactly. We write about
Right.
job opportunities and deals. We give tips on ways to shop for groceries better, ways to save money better through 401k or a rainy day fund. So anything that's going to help readers live a better financial life and stress a little less about money, that's what we're all about.
And the Penny Hoarder, it has an interesting history, right? Like, and it's not some venture-backed media company. It's not like a BuzzFeed or Vox. It really just started as a blogspot account run by someone during his free time, right?
That's correct. So our founder and CEO is Kyle Taylor. He started off in 2010 as just a blog, as you were saying, and we have developed over these past several years into quite a brand. He managed to spin this up, scale it, joined forces with Alexis Grant on the content side early on, and has managed to grow this into one of the world's biggest personal financial brands.
Yeah, I profiled the company a few years back and interviewed Kyle. So he basically, I guess he was like out of college. I can't remember if he graduated or dropped out. I can't remember, but he was in serious debt. So he started basically taking on lots of different freelance jobs, and then the Blogspot account was just his way of kind of documenting his success or tips that he was learning as he was trying to make money to pay down his debt. And he was saying, I remember that like for the first year or two, he had it like he remembers the moment that he got like 100 views in a single day, and for the first year or two, that he didn't really get more than that. But it was over time that he just slowly started building this audience, and then started making actual real money. And then Alexis Grant, she was a former editor at U.S. News and World Report. She had gone out and kind of created her own kind of content marketing company, and so he hired her initially to help him create the content, and then she did such a good job of kind of building out the audience with her team that he ended up acquiring her company, and basically she kind of subsumed them, and then she became the editor, I guess the editor in chief of the Penny Hoarder.
She was
Right.
executive editor, and now she has a title of executive vice president, and I'm the managing editor.
So the audience has gotten pretty large for the Penny Hoarder. Can you give me a sense of like how large it is?
Yeah, so we have 12 million plus monthly readers. So it's a distributed model for us where we're not only the website, although the website is a big part of it, we're also on social media and email newsletters. So we're pretty much wherever readers are. And we have 6 million Facebook fans, 1.2 million email subscribers. So it's grown pretty rapidly.
Mm-hmm. And talk to me about distribution a little bit. Like where like you seeing a lot of your traffic coming from?
We're seeing quite a bit of traffic on Facebook, as other publishers are as well. And we'll use Facebook to not only drive traffic to the website, but we've done a lot of experimenting with content directly on Facebook. We are having a lot of success on Instagram as well. We're, of course, on Twitter. We've been on Snapchat. We're on Pinterest. And a lot of success with the email newsletter, where the audience tends to skew just a little bit older. And a lot of success there with it being so loyal. So each platform has a bit of a different tilt to it in terms of its makeup.
Uh-huh. And so obviously Facebook, like famously, announced its algorithm change come like back in January. What have you guys noticed since then? Has that really affected your stats at all in terms of like your distribution of traffic?
We've seen a lot of changes in Facebook over the last couple of years. We've managed to adapt and have kept up a loyal Facebook audience. We have a very loyal community group on Facebook. We've seen some changes in how videos do. But overall, Facebook remains a great platform for us.
So you guys like have an interesting business model in the sense that you like, unlike a lot of most other digital media sites, you don't focus on display advertising. Can you talk a little bit about how you guys approach basically making money?
Sure. So rather than having a lot of display ads on our site, which can tend to clutter things or flash at you or pop up, we rely in large part on what we call performance marketing. So this is where we will partner with select clients. We actually turn down a fair number of clients because we don't feel they're a good match for us. So we partner with them to write content that we feel will best serve readers and help the client toward the client's goals.
So like let's say you're having like a top 10 apps for managing your finances. So you might create a relationship with some of those apps to where if someone clicks on the link to them and signs up for them, you get a certain amount of money, or kind of like affiliate advertising, where if you recommend some kind of product, you either use a Amazon link where you get your standard affiliate fee, or you develop a direct relationship with that product maker to where every time someone clicks and buys that product, you guys get a cut of that.
That's right, Simon. So we tend to be not about any sort of real salesy content. We tend to help clients with other goals. Like, say, you may have a client like a Lyft. It might be more about helping them find drivers. A client like Credit Sesame might be about downloading of their app. And then we'll write content, including personal stories from people who have used it or ways to use it effectively, and serving both readers and clients in that manner.
So does that put less pressure on you and the editorial team in terms of driving traffic? Like one of the criticisms of like standard display advertising is that it creates like these bad incentives to create like clickbait and stuff like that. So how does that change your incentives in terms of quality versus quantity versus page views versus actual actionable items?
It enables us to really focus on serving readers. So most of our content is not directly monetized. So in that sense, we are just really, while we care about clicks, it's not all about clicks. We care about spreading good information and having good content be seen by a wide variety of people. as any publisher would, but there's less pressure on us. So where we are striving is to have effective monetized content. And those are the posts you'll see on the pennyhoarder.com that have our disclosure, explaining that some of these links are being sponsored. And it's on those that we're making our money. But like I say, we have a broad variety of content, and most of it is actually not directly monetized.
And how does your editorial team work with the revenue side? Like, what's that kind of collaboration like?
So we have a branded content editorial team that then works with what we call our monetized team. So there are regular meetings where they will actually analyze potential deals, potential clients or offers from clients. And in those meetings, they'll decide if it's a good fit or not for the penny hoarder. And then they will go about brainstorming ideas for how they might approach the content. And then we will, write it up, put it out there, adjust as necessary, work out, the promotional campaigns for it, and closely monitor how it's doing and constantly optimize and adjust to make it as effective as possible.
But your editorial team, they write stuff sometimes, right? That even though they're like they're not really part of the advertising team, sometimes the revenue team, if they're recommending products or something, won't the revenue team sometimes reach out to those product makers and try to establish relationships?
So, yeah, are you referring to the client actually having content suggestions?
Well, no, no. I mean, in the sense of like, let's say someone who's like purely on your editorial team, they're not like really working with the revenue side. Let's say they're writing an article on like the best like tax filing software, and they write that article, but like sometimes then even though they weren't working with the ad team, won't the revenue team then sometimes maybe approach some of those like tax software companies and saying, hey, we're about to publish this article, do you want to establish some kind of relationship, so if people click on this link, we get a cut of that? Or how does that work?
More typically, how it would work, if this is what you're getting at, is our regular editorial teams may be writing something, say, about different apps, and it's not being done by the branded content team. If they see an opportunity to work in a client like that, they may on occasion add that in, and then of course we'll have to disclose it then as a sponsored post.
So there's definitely like a lot of collaboration between the two sides.
Yes, definitely. But as time has gone on, we do have a little more division of duties in how editorial is set up. So we do have a specific team of 2 editors and 3 writers on branded content
And how
that
did
are
you
producing most of that.
And how did you come to work for the site?
So I had 32 years in at the Tampa Bay Times newspaper, which coincidentally is housed in this very same building where the Penny Hoarder now is. So I can't seem to get away from 490 First Avenue South in downtown St. Petersburg, Florida. In my final position at the Tampa Bay Times, I was digital general manager. And I started hearing more and more about the Penny Hoarder, and wound up as managing editor here in August of 2016. So I've been here almost 2 years now.
And how does the kind of like, if you look at it from a weekly basis of how you guys produce content, what's the way of pitching and vetting the process for potential articles that you're going through? Like, do you guys rely on a network of freelancers? Is it mostly in-house? Are you guys having like, what's kind of the editorial structure that allows you guys to decide what content to pursue?
We're mostly in-house, and we're set up remarkably like a traditional newsroom, but perhaps without some of the baggage of what a newsroom's trying to provide. So, we're not a general interest site or general news site. We're very specific on our mission here, all about personal finance. And then we're set up on teams that are covering certain topic areas. And we've developed beats here as well. So we are, in that sense, a pretty traditional setup of editors and writers and photographers, graphic artists, video staff. So we pull that all together each day into a daily report, just like a daily newspaper or news site might do. And we're also working on longer term stuff as well all the time.
So what are some of the beats that like people cover? Like you have actual beat writers on different subject matter?
Yeah, they tend to pick up a couple different topic areas. So our broad areas, we have one team that is over deals and what we call smart money, which is sort of like traditional personal finance, and food. So that's sort of one team that's doing that. One particular writer, for instance, writes a lot about groceries and retail. Another writer writes about, on our lifestyles team, writes about parenting and transportation. So we've picked out some of these areas that have really resonated with our readers, where we can really offer actionable tips, personal stories, job opportunities. That's another team we have, we call it our Make Money team. And they do a lot of work with our work from home jobs portal, as well as writing about career tips. And so, yeah, we've really divided it all up and have writers who have become experts in these various areas. A lot of the people sort of live the mission here too. We do have a lot of in-house penny hoarders who are constantly, trying to save a buck, make an extra buck, just like readers out there.
Mm-hmm. And how much of your content is evergreen versus how much is tied to either current events or stuff that would be completely outdated in a few weeks?
Last month, we were about half and half, and we've adjusted that equation over time depending on, how we feel the content strategy is going and how well we're serving people and what's hitting and what's not. So in July, we were almost exactly half and half. We do have we tag things as either evergreen or newsy. Now, our sense of news is a little bit different than a general news site. Like our form of the news might be, deals or job opportunities, versus other types of more general interest news.
And tell me about your products that are like less like articles. Like I know you guys are doing video newsletters. So like the Wirecutter is like really trying to build up its deals product and has like a regular newsletter, has a dedicated Twitter account. What are you guys doing on the deals front? Tell me about that team.
So our deals has tended to be more deal strategy, like higher level strategy. We write about couponing, but we're not, at least to this point, trying to be a true couponing site. So yeah, we tend to be more about strategies and tactics on deals, and then we will present deals to our readers, but we try to make sure that they're a significant enough deal that's really going to make enough difference, that it covers enough of the country, to make a difference. So we have adjusted over time on exactly what we're trying to do on the deals front.
So training your readers how to look for deals rather than like actually presenting your own deals to them.
Exactly. We do present some deals, if there's a free pizza deal or something like that, we do that. A lot of them do tend to be food deals, which are popular with readers, but we're not really like a couponing site.
Mm-hmm. And what about video? What are you guys doing on that front?
So we have a video team uh, that is doing all sorts of different things, including some branded content. Another focus of theirs has been personal stories. So yeah, they've been doing a lot of experimenting. We for a while were doing Facebook Lives. We suspended that and have gone more to produced videos.
And like, so obviously there's this huge trend, especially with Facebook video, of kind of like using B-roll footage with like text overlay and some music, and those have gone super viral. What do you like? Talk about like what are the content? Are you actually like sending a camera crew to, interview people and do that kind of reporting, or is it more kind of splicing together text-based content with overlaying with images? Tell me about like what your actual programming is.
It's a little more produced than that. So yes, we are sending out crews to video different things. That actually doesn't fall under editorial. In our current
Mm-hmm.
setup, we have a director of video and a video team. So yeah, they're jumping into personal stories where they'll go out with a crew, light it all up, do the interview, talk about different ways people are making money or saving money, and doing much more of a polished uh, video on something, not just taking the B-roll as you were describing and putting text on it.
So what's like a story you would tell, like an interesting way that someone is making money? Like how do you choose your video subjects?
They'll typically, one common area for us is that we will find people and ways of making money, or we have a project that is coming out soon. I guess I can at least mention the topic. So we're writing about the 10 years after the housing crisis. So our video squad went out and did some live interviews, did some traveling of some of the people that were involved in that. So yeah, it's really trying to be, it does take time and resource to do that, but that's been more of the direction we're heading in.
Mm-hmm. And the company that's based in Tampa, Florida, right?
We're actually based in the sister city to Tampa, across Tampa Bay of St. Petersburg, Florida, downtown St.
And
Petersburg, Florida.
and you mentioned that like it's a lot of full-time staff. Like, does that make it hard for you guys to recruit journalists? Like, I remember talking to Alexis, and she said that sometimes, since so many journalists are based in like the East Coast and stuff like that. What's your experience in terms of recruiting people who are either in the area or willing to move to it?
We really haven't had any trouble recruiting. I think with what's gone on in newspapers and traditional media, there's been a lot of people looking for work and a lot of people interested in working at a place that's actually growing, like this. So we have people working here from the Wall Street Journal. From Alexis is from the Houston Chronicle, and we have a photographer from there as well. I'm from the Tampa Bay Times. So yeah, we have people from a number of traditional organizations that we blended with people from other backgrounds uh, into quite an interesting newsroom here.
Uh-huh. So like there are a lot of it seems like there's an announcement every day that a media company is launching kind of like an e-commerce or affiliate or performance marketing arm. Do you feel like and it's becoming one of the new frontiers in trying to find new business models. Do you feel like the space is getting more crowded? Like how do you guys feel like you differentiate yourself from the pack?
I would say overall, the personal finance space indeed seems crowded, uh, but we seem to occupy a unique space in it. I attribute at least part of that to our voice and our pretty strict adherence to our mission. We do put everything through that framework of helping readers uh, earn and save money. And for whatever reason, people really respond to that. I think because we are, taking on this voice of like a friendly advisor, we're writing in a more creative manner, maybe than some traditional media are, and people have responded to it.
How would you kind of gauge your audience? Like, there's obviously the general population, which could always save money or always make more money. But then there are also these like really fervent subcultures. Like, there's like this one subculture that's like obsessed with like retiring at by the age of like 35 and they're like super savers. There's other like subcultures that are obsessed with like, traveling and living the freelance life while living in like tropical areas. Like who do you feel like, or who do you get a sense of like when you think about Penny Hoarder's like very core audience of people who return constantly? who do you get a sense of who they are?
Well, we know that about 75% of our audience is made up of women. Our research has also shown that they're making many of the financial decisions in the family. So they're sort of like the family CFO. It's a little bit different on some of the other platforms. We know on Facebook, the audience has actually gotten a little bit older. On email newsletters, it's a little more loyal. So it's a wide variety of people. Are there subcultures on there? I'm sure there are. But we do cover, a bit of a wider waterfront than those subculture sites. We do find that people really seem to come to us for side gig information, and that's why we started a work for home jobs portal. As the gig economy grows here and more people are piecing together income from different sources, that's been very popular. Personal stories really resonate with people. So those might be a little less directly actionable than other stories, in that they're not listing a series of tips, yet they inspire or motivate people like, hey, if that person can do that, I might be able to do it. Or there's an inherent lesson in it, of chasing a dream or trying a little harder or being persistent. So people are coming to us for all sorts of reasons, and we really have people across various demographics too.
So like a lot of profiles of people who have started their own businesses that are somehow unique in some way.
Yeah, stories about entrepreneurs are very popular. Stories about people's money saving techniques are popular. Sometimes we'll write them directly ourselves, where we'll try them out or we'll compare services or products and write about them ourselves. Other times we're writing about other people, who are using them or their ideas and tips. So we're a mix of voice as well, where we might be writing about our own experiences or other people, or we write a lot in the you voice, to try to bring people into it.
And you mentioned the gig economy. Like, do you think that it's not a coincidence that you guys have really kind of come into, wide distribution as kind of the entire workforce is starting to transform?
Definitely, so we're long past the days of, somebody working for one company their whole lives. So, although I'll point out, I came pretty darn close with 30 plus years at the Tampa Bay Times newspaper there, but that's certainly not the case nowadays. And as people are looking to piece together incomes from different sources, and we have a big community of freelancers. We have a big community of people we know that are working regular jobs but are looking to supplement their income. So yeah, all these people are finding value in the types of things that we're putting out.
All right. Well, John, those were all the questions I had. Thanks so much. Where can people find you?
So you can find us on thepennyhoarder.com. Remember to put the in there. It's very important. Or you can find us on Facebook. Just search on The Penny Hoarder and you'll find us there.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. It was fun. Okay, that's all we have for you today. Be sure to subscribe to the Business of Content on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast. See you next week.